I previously told you how back in February 2026, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, Administrator for the Centers of Medicare Medicaid Services Dr. Oz, and U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced the largest initiative to combat healthcare fraud in American history. On the exact same day, UAB Medicine, University of Alabama at Birmingham, circulated this memo to staff and employees advising them not to communicate with those claimed to be representatives of regulatory entities, including DACMS, calling these individuals scammers. And recently, UAB and the federal government's anti-corruption efforts are back in the news. According to Birmingham, Alabama television station ABC 3340, on June 10th, 20 Alabama hospitals received federal warnings over price transparency requirements. And it mentions the practices have received federal enforcement letters over alleged failures to comply with hospital price transparency requirements. And this is part of a nationwide enforcement effort targeting 519 hospitals that officials say are not providing the public with required pricing information for medical services. And the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid here has issued two types of enforcement actions: warning notices and more serious corrective action plan requests known as CAP. Hospitals that fail to address deficiencies can face penalties of up to $2 million annually. 5 hospitals named here were among those sold to University of Alabama at Birmingham by Ascension in the $450 million 2024 deal. These include St. Vincent, St. Clair, Pell City, St. Vincent's Birmingham, and St. Vincent's East. The article continues, hospital price transparency rules require hospitals to publicly disclose standard charges for items and services, including rates negotiated with insurance companies, discounted cash prices, and other information. And yeah, this is absolutely true. I have several hours video on just this subject. When I went to the emergency department in UAB, Ascension, St. Vincent's East, and Birmingham in 2018 and 2019, they sidestepped EMTALA and disregarded those guidelines which ensure stabilizing treatment to patients. I did not even get a diagnosis. I did not get proper treatment. A few days following that visit, I started getting these bills through the mail for thousands of dollars. And I had these referrals, and one of them was to St. Vincent's orthopedic doctor, F. Spain Hodges. As it applies to a hidden pricing, not only were they demanding I pay thousands of dollars for the emergency room visit, but I was going to have to go on this specialist referral, which would have been $500 cash additionally, before I was even going to be issued a diagnosis for my condition. The hospital has a target list of the amount of money that patients have to pay before they give a treatment, and what I know from my experience is this is only the tip of the iceberg. There's big corruption that UAB is hiding. I'll play here my phone call to UAB President Dr. Ray Watts from December 2024. Hi, yes, I'd like to leave a message for President Watts. I was interested in contacting UAB President Dr. Ray Watts regarding the university's recent takeover of Ascension St. Vincent's Hospital's infrastructure and services. I was a patient and customer of many of these doctors over the past several years and suffered major medical fraud, misdiagnosis, malpractice, patient dumping, and a lack of treatment. And there are many others in the state of Alabama who have similar unresolved, outstanding issues. Dr. Watts may be interested in my case. As a neurology specialist, I had broken the underside of my skull in the area of the occipital condyle and condylar canal. Possibly my foramen magnum was also fractured or broken. A very serious injury. I almost died from. Yeah, I went to St. Vincent's, had MRI, CT, and x-rays taken. I was told that I had no injury. I knew better because I almost died from whatever happened to me. Got my records, and I was given written and signed radiology reports from Ascension St. Vincent's that I had no injury there, but the injuries show up in the pictures. So Dr. Watts, he could look at what happened to me. Ascension did business the wrong way during his tenure as the manager of these facilities, and UAB inherits these risks, debts, liabilities. At the same time, they try to present a new image for their acquisitions. As a patient and customer, I believe UAB must immediately assess and expunge corruption from its hospitals and staff, and in fact, its future business success depends on this.